Hello, Milwaukee Bucks fans. Welcome back to Bucks Latest, presented by fanarch.com. I'm your host, Dean Simon, and please consider liking and subscribing if you want to join along on this journey. The first story on the docket today is maybe a little bit of a tough topic for longtime Milwaukee Bucks faithful, but Giannis Antetokounmpo's recent trade saga has brought a lot of Bucks faithful to recognize that there are a lot of similarities with one Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who of course brought the franchise its first championship in 1971, and then a half a century later, Giannis Antetokounmpo, the Greek Freak, came in and won the 2021 NBA Finals MVP to lead the Bucks to their second championship in franchise history, coming back down 2-0 against the Phoenix Suns in the 2021 NBA Finals. But with Giannis's ongoing trade saga, he's still yet to meet with the front office. No one really knows where Giannis's head is exactly at in terms of really requesting a trade and going forward with this kind of thing and having the Bucks gauge his value on the trade market. But the Milwaukee Bucks faithful have been showing their outpouring of support for Giannis potentially staying in Milwaukee. And a recent article, specifically one from The Athletic's Rob Peterson, partially titled Echoes of Kareem, it basically begs and pleads for Giannis Antetokounmpo to stay as a member of the Milwaukee Bucks. In his article, he said, "So I proffer this advice to the Bucks. Hold on to the Greek Freak for dear life. Do not let him go. Do not trade him to the highest bidder. I don't care if the Dallas Mavericks throw in the number one overall pick, more draft picks, and Jerry World, or the Rockets offer Alperen Şengün more draft picks and NASA mission control, or the San Antonio Spurs give up this year's second pick, Stephon Castle, more draft picks, and the Alamo. For Bucks fans, Giannis is their historic landmark." Of course, after Kareem Abdul-Jabbar won the 1971 NBA championship, shortly thereafter, he would move on to the Los Angeles Lakers, where he did end up winning a lot more championships, 5 more to be exact. But in terms of the view of Milwaukee Bucks fans, lifelong and new, it's a painful reminder that the Milwaukee Bucks have possessed a once-in-a-generation type of star that eventually departed. And, of course, Giannis, over the past decade plus, has been Milwaukee. Milwaukee has been Giannis. He has been this franchise since he stepped in 2013. And now with him potentially exiting, it's obviously not a good feeling. And just for sentimental value for the franchise itself, you need to keep a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo around. While the Bucks will certainly look at their options and review certain trade packages from teams like Houston, from teams like San Antonio, maybe even Dallas, even though they're pretty set on drafting Cooper Flagg with the number one overall pick in the 2025 NBA draft, it seems as though the outcry of support for Giannis staying in Milwaukee could have some effect on the franchise in the next few months. But with that, we got some more views on the Giannis Antetokounmpo potential sweepstakes, this time from both current and former superstar players, specifically at the forward position, because former New York Knicks legend Carmelo Anthony stopped by Paul George's podcast P Show, and they spent a short little segment on Giannis's potential to be traded, whether they think he's actually going to, and what situations could come about for Giannis to leave. And in this, they vehemently disagreed with the idea of Giannis Antetokounmpo jumping ship, requesting a trade, the Bucks even taking the time to review packages and see what kind of fit or what kind of package they could have in return and where Giannis could fit as a result. With Paul George saying that Giannis is that old era cut. I think he wants to stay in Milwaukee his whole career. I don't see him wanting to leave. It's a legacy thing, I think, with Giannis in Milwaukee. And after that, Carmelo Anthony, the 2025 Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame inductee, he also said that Giannis built Milwaukee. This new Milwaukee 2.0, Giannis built that. He won with that. He built that from the ground up. If they get rid of Giannis, Milwaukee is taking a 15-year step back. And you can't really argue with anything that Carmelo Anthony said right there. Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, has been the franchise. Milwaukee Bucks faithful saw this guy come in skinny and frail, but eventually turning out to be long and strong and a generational talent, winning Most Improved Player awards, to being a All-Star and 7 straight All-NBA first-team selection, to back-to-back MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, champion, Finals MVP. Giannis Antetokounmpo is Milwaukee, and now both NBA writers for The Athletic and incredible NBA players agree that Giannis should remain a Milwaukee Buck, but again, remains to be seen what the Bucks will eventually decide to do with Giannis, whether they'll actually gauge his trade value. You would imagine that they might, if especially given the okay by Giannis to do so, but once again, remains to be seen. In other news, we have a little bit of a free agency update regarding one Brook Lopez. Again, huge part of the 2021 NBA championship team, also a one-time All-Star. Brook Lopez, the two-way Splash Mountain big, it appears as though his future in Milwaukee looks pretty bleak, as NBA writer Jake Weinbach took to social media recently to share his thoughts on Brook Lopez's immediate future in a post on X on Wednesday afternoon, in which he said Brook Lopez and the Bucks will most likely part ways this offseason after 7 meaningful years together. And of course, you would imagine with Brook Lopez entering this next season, which I believe will be his 18th or 19th in the NBA at age 37 or 38 years old, as an unrestricted free agent, he will probably be looking for one of his last big contracts before he calls it quits. And you can't really blame him, especially with the value that he's proven to give Milwaukee in a competitive setting in recent years. Even as he's grown with age, he has grown as a player. He's become more versatile, obviously gained that incredible three-point shooting stroke, shot about 37% from three this past year. But Brook Lopez could definitely have a lot to offer other prospective competitive teams, most notably the Golden State Warriors, who could be looking for a pretty solid and reliable stretch big. Same goes with the Los Angeles Lakers, who you could argue that Brook Lopez would maybe be a perfect fit as a pick-and-roll partner for both LeBron James and Luka Doncic, as a guy that can space the floor and also block shots at the other end. So Brook Lopez, as an unrestricted free agent, wouldn't really make much sense for him to go back to Milwaukee if you really think about it, especially with everything going on, with Dame out for most of next year in 2025-26 with the Achilles injury, with Giannis possibly not being on the team next year. There's a lot of uncertainty, and Brook Lopez will definitely be looking to make the most out of his last year, his last 2 years, however long he remains in the NBA. Brook Lopez will be trying to make his money and try to be competitive doing so, and it's pretty easy to figure that Milwaukee might not be the best situation for him moving forward, with all things considered. And finally, the 2025 NBA Finals-bound Oklahoma City Thunder could very well be in the mix continually for a massive Giannis Antetokounmpo deal. It seems as though this is what the Oklahoma City Thunder have been building up to since Sam Presti took over. Of course, Sam Presti has turned a Rashard Lewis sign and trade into Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jalen Williams, all these other incredible guys, and they just keep seeming to stack on talent, and it's just never ending, the amount of incredible role players and young guys that are still coming up that they have towards the end of their bench. And it seems as though Milwaukee Bucks on Sports Illustrated's Ryan Stano recently reported that the Oklahoma City Thunder could remain a possible landing spot for Giannis because of their incredible bevy of prospects of draft capital. And it's really interesting because the Oklahoma City Thunder are in a position now where whether they face the Indiana Pacers or the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals, they'll be seen as the overwhelming favorite to take the 2025 NBA title. But if they were to fail to do so, if they were to somehow collapse in the NBA Finals against an inferior Pacers or Knicks team after winning 68 games in the regular season, the Oklahoma City Thunder could be stressed to a point where they figure, you know what, we've been gaining all of these assets, gaining all of these prospects, and we still couldn't win the championship. We got this close. A catastrophic collapse in the NBA Finals for the Thunder could possibly signal that a trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo could be very well within reach, very well on the table, and something that they will definitely be considering. But again, with the Thunder dominating in the postseason as much as they have, it's more than likely that they will take the 2025 NBA title, that Shai will get his first championship after receiving his first MVP honors. So Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, fitting with the Thunder would be seamless, just because of their incredible defensive talent surrounding Giannis. It would be all NBA defensive team guys like Lou Dort, like now Jalen Williams, who made an all defensive team this year, as well as an All Star appearance and All NBA appearance. Just the incredible defensive personnel around Giannis in that situation, it very well could be the perfect spot for Giannis if he were to request a trade. But with Giannis yet to meet with the front office and all the higher ups, it remains to be seen whether he will remain as a Milwaukee Buck or he will have his market gauged and he might be dealt in the coming months. But that will be all for me today. If you want the latest updates on all of the breaking news stories, trending topics to do with the Milwaukee Bucks of the National Basketball Association, I would definitely recommend subscribing and liking and coming along for this journey on Bucks Latest, presented by fanarch.com. I've been Dean Simon, and thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Go Bucks.